morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jack Cattel, also known as Joseph Cattel. That's where I was born. But I go by my initials, which are JAC. So if you get something from me, I'm not spelling my name wrong. I know how to spell my name. I've been doing it for 57 years now. It's actually my initials. Anyway, I want to give you a little bit of my background. I was born to a Roman Catholic family here in Fitchburg, Mass. Actually, later on, past my high school time, my father was actually an ordained deacon. We were at St. Anthony's Church here in Fitchburg. I was born and brought up there. I was an altar boy. I was confirmed and baptized and, ticked the boxes on that. I went to church every Sunday. I went to Holy Family, which was a private Catholic parochial school here in Fitchburg for my grammar school. Later on, I went on to St. Anselm College, which was another Catholic school. Actually got my master's degree from Anna Maria College in Paxton, again, another Catholic institution. So I think I ticked all the boxes on what I was supposed to be a good Christian. In your 20s, your late 20s, you become a little too busy to go to church. You don't need to go to church. Still felt I was a good Christian. I was still living a good life, being good to people, being treated like I want to be treating people like I want to be treated. I did go to the church on occasion, usually Christmas and Easter and funerals and weddings. Most of the things that people do in their 20s. Then in the early 30s, I actually met and married my wife, Paula. We had a Roman Catholic wedding, St. Anthony's Church again. We had 2 children, had them baptized at St. Anthony's Church. Again, not a weekly attendee. Weren't going all that often, but still felt like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what's going on. We were fortunate enough to have a babysitter who actually taught Sunday school. And so she would take our kids on Sunday morning. We'd pack up our kids, and our kids would go with the babysitter. Paul and I would have a nice breakfast by ourselves, and the kids would go off. That went on for a couple of months. And then my oldest daughter, Hannah, my only daughter, Hannah, came and asked Paula, "Stuart and I go to church, why don't you and Daddy?" That's when we kind of said, uh-oh, we have to do something about that. So we had some friends that were here at Christ Church, and they asked us to come down. That was, I think, something like 16, 17 years ago. It was our first stop on our shop and a shopping excursion, and we have never left. We've been very fortunate to call Christ Church our church family. And I call it a family. It's more than just showing up in a pew and saying hi to people. I feel that everyone here is loving and supporting, and if we were in trouble, if we needed something, I know that would happen. I can say that when my mom passed away, a lot of my church family came to the wake to pay their condolences. And I don't think we had been at the church that long. My mother's been gone probably 11 years now. But again, that whole family thing. Of course, I was still in the assumption that I didn't need to really go to a church. I could do it on my own. But then as I grew older, I realized that it was the family communion, the community that I was part of, that was was very important, which is what I hold so dear at Christ Church. Let me catch you. Okay. I have grown so much here at Christ Church. We talked during Stewardship about time, talent, and treasure. And I'm going to just touch on it a little bit and how that has actually worked in my life. Time. I was in my early 30s coming back to a church. I didn't have time. I was commuting into Boston. How could I find time? Well, you don't find time for things that are important. You make time for them. So I was asked, and I accepted the position of going on to the vestry. I was on the vestry for 10 years. I could give up a couple Tuesday nights a month. It was very easy. Didn't really disturb my way of life at all. And I was giving back to the community that I loved. Then there was a point where we needed a treasurer. People who know me, I'm very financially oriented. I can kind of do amortization schedules in my mind. So people kind of look at me a little like, why don't you be the treasurer? So I was treasurer for a while. Again, it was a little bit more of a commitment, and it worked. Again, I was just taking a little bit of time, stepping stones towards being more involved in the church. Then I was asked to be the senior warden. That's a big commitment. Anybody who's ever been a senior warden in church knows that it's very difficult. But I accepted it. It was at a time that the church needed someone like me, I guess. God called me, I call it a calling, and I was here for the church. And a lot of things happened. We merged with Good Shepherd Church during that time. I don't know how to merge two churches, but God gave me the talent, gave me the knowledge. With His guidance, He was able to help me guide those two churches together. We had a camp that we had, Camp Starfish. Well, during that time, there was a major economic downturn, and a majority of their money was donations, and they dried up. And so they ended up coming to us and saying that they needed some help. So we actually worked with them and helped them to get themselves back on their feet. And now, this past year, we were actually able to get them off of our books, because we actually held the mortgage for that. And we have now a very small second mortgage, but the major mortgage has been paid back because of the work that we did. Again, through prayer and God's help, I was able to channel my energies to help them grow their stuff. Those are my talents, my treasures. Growing up, it's kind of like my money, God's money. Never the two should meet. Foolhardily, I used to believe that. Now, I believe, actually work, that everything is God's. And I'm just a steward of what God has given me to use. So every year during this time, Paul and I will sit down and we'll talk about our pledge. And hopefully we were able to increase it. We don't increase it by 100-fold. We increase it a little bit, a couple of percentage points. 0.5%. Maybe it's $1. Maybe it's $2. In good years, maybe it's $10. But we just do it as little bit by little bit. And I encourage you all to look at your budgets and see if your budget couldn't somehow or other stretch a little bit more, and to be able to give a little bit more to Christ Church when you go to do your pledges. Thank you.